info@behavioralcrossroads.com. So info is INFO at behavioralcrossroads.com.
Thank you, Mr. DeMarco.
And just so you know, everybody, Mr. G has directed me to put some hyperlinks on the website, www.recoveryliferadio.com. And I have Mr. DeMarco, Jordan, and I also have Lori's information that I will be putting up. So any of the information they give you as far as an email, a phone number, or a website, it'll be accessible to you. And I'll also have a link pasted to the radio station website so you can get right to it.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you,
got
Mr.
it.
Rob. You know, one thing that we realize today is that we are in desperate need because of the infested community and how drugs is running rampant in our community in every fashion, whether it be prescribed by a doctor or whether it be street drugs. Your facilities and the things that you do behind the scene, you know, it's something that people must know in the community because you make this thing happen. You know, I know this is the fiscal year and that, you know, the Senate and the government in itself, which if they would just reconsider and know that you guys, what you do, and if they would donate the proper finances to support what you do, that we can really do great things in the state of New Jersey. You know,
Agreed.
I like the very fact of the matter. You know, I'm a product of jails and institutions, but I say that because I want you, my listening audience, to know that this is not 20 years ago. This is not 15 years ago. We have a new day. The people, we have a knowledge or understanding that it's no longer a criminal offense, but a disease. I am so glad it has taken on the title of disease. You know, one of my main focus was to see happen in my life before I left, before I depart this life, is to see people realize that there's a mental aspect. There's a mental aspect to keep you. Lori, Jordan, you're most familiar with this because you're in the room, you hear it commonly, how people have regained their lives back through the power of information and how the will works, you know. And when in the rooms we use terms, it work if you work it, Jordan. Are you familiar with that? You know, and we have evidence that this process really works, you know. And this is what we want to bring to the table today. We want somebody to know, mother, if you have a son up in the attic, if you have a granddaughter that needs help, we want you to know that there are facilities out there. We want you to know that people out here really working behind the scene to make the government be responsible. And this is what we are trying to do. We would like to see more places such as Crossroads, rather than seeing a new prison go up in Southwoods. This is what our goals are. So we understand that the power of information, we can all be on the same page. Listen, Crossroads and you guys are like a hand and glove. We all work together for the good purpose of people helping people. With that being said, Mr. Rob, give them my webpage.
I definitely will, Mr. G. Thank you. And again, the webpage that you can contact or get any of the information that we're broadcasting to you here today is www.recoveryliferadio.com. Again, you'll see all hyperlinks to some of the facilities in the area, and we don't dedicate anything to any one facility. Crossroads has given us a lot of support, and we have some of their employees here, and they're only down the street, so it really works out well for them. But we've also hyperlinked other websites, Drug Court, Andy's had me put up there, as well as Seabrook or Seabrook Center, and anybody who wants to see their website on our main website, and they have a resource that they think can help somebody, please call in to Mr. Gandy, send us an email, and we'll get your stuff and your information up there. This way, again, you never know what people are going to see and what resource people are going to gravitate to, and that's why we bring all these guests here.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Robert. Mr. DeMarco, is there anything else you'd like to bring to the listening audience today that you feel as though they should be informed of?
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to ask Lori if she can expand. Lori is the coordinator for Atlantic Prevention Resources Joined Together Atlantic County Coalition. And it's a grassroots program that has federal and state funding, but it's really geared and tooled towards Atlantic County.
Beautiful.
And there's prevention education and sector relationships that are involved in this particular coalition. So because it's sector involved, you know, they have to evaluate and survey the community based on the different sectors and come to a decision how they're going to help the community based on what the community needs.
That's what we're looking
So in many respects, it shapes what the needs are here in Atlantic County. So if I can, I just
Sure.
I'm the co-chair with JTAC, but Lori does 100% of the work.
Thank you so much.
So if Lori can expand on JTAC and some of the initiatives that she's working on.
Yes, thank you, Lori.
Thank you. And actually, Michael's being very modest because the coalition members actually, really are putting in a lot of effort and helping. And without them, it could not be this community collaboration that we have come to be. We actually work with a lot of different community partners, and our grants actually require you to have sector representation due to the fact that a community to work on environmental strategies as a whole. Interventions that will actually help the community total, not just, a one-on-one classroom program where you're focused on 20 kids at a time. We're actually focusing on different interventions that are going to help everyone as a whole. So we work with school officials, law enforcement, parents, faith-based organizations, youth that are, throughout Atlantic County. We have a separate youth coalition. We work with our treatment centers and the county government, doing a lot of different activities. A couple of the things we've done recently with the latest issues dealing with heroin. I'm sure everybody has heard, all of the overdoses and deaths we've had recently. It's, unfortunate, absolutely. And what's happening is people are mostly for the most part, they're actually becoming addicted to prescription drugs, things like opiates, like when you're looking at different narcotics that people are on for having a surgery, or people are stealing from medicine cabinets, and it's leading to this heroin problem that we're having. The pills cost a lot of money for one person to buy on the street.
Very expensive.
Absolutely. And then heroin you can get for $5 a bag, unfortunately.
Yes.
So the market out there for heroin right now is one of our biggest issues. And we actually had 2 Opiate Summits last year where we actually brought together countywide a bunch of officials and just school personnel and parents and law enforcement to Echover Township High School to have countywide summits and talk about the issue and what everybody was dealing with and where to go from there, things we can work on now that, the issue has been brought to light. We actually, with the police departments, are working on a substance abuse resource guide that every police department will then distribute every time they go on any type of call that is dealing with substance abuse. And it actually lists places like behavioral Crossroads and
Oh, that's
all the
great.
different treatment and prevention centers, and even the recovery center that we have here in Atlantic County.
I think that works right in line with what we're talking about doing, just giving people the resources that are available. And like
Yes,
you said,
that's
Mr.
right.
G, rather than lock them up, give them some information. Guys, for everybody listening, that was Lori Smith, and she is the community coordinator for Atlantic Prevention Resources. And if you want to reach her, Lori, would you mind giving your credentials out there?
Sure. Our coalition phone number for Join Together Atlantic County is 609-272-0100. That's 272-0100. We can be found on the website at www.jtacnj.org. And we actually have, for everybody in the community, we have a Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook.
Love Facebook.
Yeah,
Everybody's on
everybody loves
Facebook,
Facebook.
yes.
Except for the kids now. They've given Facebook up now that we're the adults are
They
on
hiding
it.
from us. Yes.
But you can actually go to facebook.com and it's /JTACNJ. That's Join Together Atlantic County. You can search. And we actually every day putting up new information of what's going on in the county, things that are going on statewide as well as nationally. But there's a lot of information about upcoming events. When other agencies are holding events and substance abuse events and prevention events, we're putting them up as well.
Okay, and
Beautiful.
again, Lori Smith is the Community Initiative Coordinator for Atlantic Prevention Resources, and I'll give it back to you, Mr. G.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Robert. Mrs. Smith, it's absolutely essential that we give people the sort of information which you have just given today. With that being said, as I reflect back on my life and the struggle for 44 years of addiction, to hear what I'm hearing today, it really does me well on the inside. Because the main focus on what we are doing is saving someone's life, giving people to inspire, to encourage, to enlighten, to motivate. Someone asked me, they said, Gandhi, why do you always talk about where you come from, because where I came from is make me who I am. So what we want to do with the power of information is set people free from the chains of bondage. In our literature, Jordan, we talk about freedom of bondage. Well, there's many forms of bondage. And what we're doing, working hand in glove, we are really setting people free from bondage, whether it's on the financial end, whether it's on the therapeutic end. We're all working together. And I am so glad that the word coalition was brought up, because it tells me that it's a we and not an I.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's very important, that we understand that we have a common purpose. Common purpose. We have a common purpose to reach out to the community. Yes.
A lot of times people think, the police are against this or that, and, the schools are against the parents. And there's a lot of just, people who've had issues. But when you're talking about a coalition, everybody's coming together.
Everybody.
The police see prevention as something that they have to be a part of to help with them. And I'm sure Michael can even, go even a bit further with that. But everybody has to work together for these issues. It's not, like a fighting. We're past the point of people not working together. And I think that when you think about the issues, whether a person hasn't gotten help yet and is actually looking for someone to reach out to them, or someone is in treatment and now moving on to recovery, and Jordan can attest to that, the whole community as a whole, whether it's prevention, treatment, and recovery, is working together with the rest of the coalition members.
Absolutely. And Mr. G, we have Jordan Trainer here since we brought her name up, and I don't want to mess her credentials up. I'm going to let her say it, but Jordan Trainer, she's a CADC intern, and she looks like she's busting at the seams with information. So with no further ado, Mr. G, let's get Jordan's point of view, because I can tell she's a boatload of information for resources that are available for people with problems of substance abuse.
Thank you so much, Michael. Robert, we would like to have Jordan to expound on exactly what is going on in our communities, because you have firsthand information, because you are right there involved and in the presence of those people that has been challenged with addiction.
And if I may, Jordan, what is a CADC? I'm dying to know. I'm just dying to know.
The CADC intern is the Certificate Alcohol and Drug Counseling, and I'll work one-on-one with a client that comes into treatment. I prepare to run groups. If they have crisis, we can handle any of them. I'm also community relations and the alumni relations specialist at Crossroads. I'm actually under Michael DeMarco's wing.
What a beautiful man.
So he is teaching me all the...
What a good wing to be under, right?
Yes, absolutely. Very informative. He's teaching me the ropes and actually how to take the outside, the drug and alcohol counseling, into the inside, how the gears work in the background of recovery.
Yes, beautiful. Listen, Jordan,
Yes.
we're going to take a break.
Okay.
But when we come back, I'm going to give you the chance to expound on exactly what do you mean in detail when you say 12 steps.
Oh, okay.
Give us a little more intense information in regards to that. Also, Mrs. Lori, we're going to give you an opportunity to share. Let's somewhat have a roundtable conversation right here on the air where our audience can understand what we really are about, and that we are very passionate about that in which we do.
Love a meeting.
All right, Rob, would you
I
like?
like that.
Okay, so as Mr. Gandy said, we're going to take a little station break here, and we are www.Recovery Life Radio with Mr. G, and Mr. G is bringing you his experience, strength, and hope, and resources of recovery to make our community more aware of the resources that are out there, and we're hubbing them all together for you on this www.Recovery Life Radio website, just to make it easier. The Google for recovery. We're trying to get all the information to you.
Thank you once again, Mr. Rob. Mr. DeMarcos, before we go to a break, I would like for you to get your webpage once again, your email address, and where Behavior Crossroads is located.
Behavioral Crossroads in Egg Harbor Township is located on 205 West Parkway Drive, relatively close to the circle near the Atlantic City International Airport in Egg Harbor Township. And the Turnersville location is 509 South Black Horse Pike in Turnersville, really a stone's throw away. We're south of the Camden County Community College. Website, www.behavioralcrossroads.org. www.crossroads.com, toll-free number 877-645-2502.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take a little break for now. We'll be right back. Stick with us. You're listening to Mr. G right here on your station for information, Recovery Live Radio.
WEHA, Port Republic, Atlantic City, and now on FM Translator 99.9 W260. Have you considered WEHA for your announcements and broadcasts? We can be heard on 88.7 FM in Ocean County in cities like Barnegat, Long Beach Island, Manahawkin, Tuckerton, Little Egg Harbor, New Gretna, in Atlantic County in cities like Port Republic, Smithville, Pomona, Egg Harbor Township, Northfield, Pleasantville, Absecon, Atlantic City, and on 99.9 FM in cities like Egg Harbor City, Elwood, Hamilton, and Mizpah. And don't forget the World Wide Web, www.wehagospel887.com. For more information on broadcast and announcements, 609-641-8870. You're only a dial away from being heard on WEHA. Gospel 88.7 WEHA. Spreading the gospel one song at a time.
Hi, this is Stephanie Caldwell, Director of Operations for Gospel 88.7 WEHA, offering you a great special broadcast opportunity to get your Sunday church sermon heard on both radio and the World Wide Web. Or perhaps you're a business owner with a message to get out to the public. Whatever your needs are, we've opened up a new time frame on weekdays between 10 a.m. and 12 noon for 30 minutes or 1 full hour, whatever fits your needs. Just call us at 609-641-8870, and we'll be happy to give you more information and help you get started with your radio broadcast.
Backed by popular demand.
You told Harpo to beat me?
I'm sorry.
I love Harpo. God knows I do. But I'll kill him dead before I let him or anybody beat me.
Just Right Productions presents The Color Purple Musical, starring Mia DuBois McKenzie as Nettie, Dion Renee as Squeak, Devin Smith as Harpo, Darshell Todd Scott as Sophia, Jody Harris as Suge Avery, Gabriel Morris as Mr., and Crystal Thompson as Seeley. Directed by Christopher McGriff, Assistant Director of the original Color Purple on Broadway. Saturday, March 21st at 7 p.m. and Sunday, March 22nd at 3 p.m. at the Atlantic City High School, 1400 North Albany Avenue, Atlantic City, New Jersey, 08401. For tickets, www.brownpapertickets.com. Tickets may also be purchased at the door. For more information, 609-553-2381. Just Right Productions presents, backed by popular demand, The Color Purple Musical, sponsored by Gospel 88.7 FM, WEHA, the heart of the community.
Thank you and welcome back. You're back with Mr. G. I'm your recovery broker, my co-host, Mr. Robert.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mr. G.
yes. Mr. Robert.
Yes, Mr. G. I'm just going to go over some of our guests that we have here again. We have Michael DeMarco from Behavioral Crossroads, and also from Behavioral Crossroads, we have Jordan Turner, and we're also here with Lori Smith, who is our community coordinator with Atlantic Prevention Resources, and we're back to you from Recovery Radio. That you can look at all of our information that we're posting here today at www.recoveryliferadio.com. Take us home, Mr. G.
Okay, we want to start with you, Lori. Is it all right if I call you Lori?
That is fine.
Fantastic. We try to keep a friendly atmosphere around here. Lori, all right, tell us a little something, Lori, about the changes you've seen go on over the years of experience in this process. Would you expound on that a little for us?
Absolutely. I think years ago when I started Atlantic Prevention 17 years ago, we had specific drugs that we were focused on, and then things like club drugs, like ecstasy, was kind of new on the scene.
Yeah.
And a lot of that you don't hear too much in the news about, except for Molly, which is a pure form of ecstasy. I think the biggest issues we are facing right now is prescription drug abuse and the problem we're having with heroin, as well as marijuana issues. I know people, who think that it's like it was in the 70s, and the THC level, the main drug in marijuana, was only about 4%. And now it's actually up to, in places like Colorado, 40% pure, 40% THC level. So now there's an addiction that was never there before. And a lot of people, I know it's been passed in several states, and a lot of people seeing this as a drug that's not very harmful, and it's okay to use once in a while. But when you actually look at what's happened and how the drug has progressed over, the past 40 years, just like anything else, when you're talking about a plant, it's been made to actually have that higher form of THC level.
Lori, as you see the way marijuana has become more acceptable, or I guess some states have even legalized the use of marijuana, and now the word medical marijuana exists, do you see that there's more people with that addiction that come to you? And if you do, what resources do people, because I know people kind of almost disassociate marijuana with the hardcore drug. I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
I think it's a stepping stone drug, and
Sure it is.
probably the drug most people do. But
I
what
agree.
resources, I really do. What resources do you see? And then moreover, like you said, heroin's the big one, it seems like, and to me. And
label.
As they go on, what are the resources that are available? And then I'll go back to the first one, marijuana.
I think first off, people need to be informed. We're actually on April 23rd at Stockton University. Dr. Kevin Sabet, who used to be with the Office of National Drug Control Policy, he's going to be coming and speaking about marijuana. Because I think, like I said, a lot of people are thinking that it is the same as it was in the 70s, and marijuana is not addictive. But what we have now today, unfortunately, is. And so I think one of the biggest things is they need to get the facts, and by offering on your website the different resources they can, reach out to and actually learn about marijuana. Just whatever we're hearing in the news, a lot of times it's put out by the companies that are making money off of it, and they're saying that, it's not an issue.
Very
But when you're looking at Colorado and the actual social problems that they're having there, they now have the highest use of teenagers using marijuana in the country, the problems that they're having with addiction, with mental health issues. So I think really reaching out and getting that information and being well informed, and coming when we have like a summit and have these informational pieces, coming and getting that information.
I've always heard in life, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. G, but when a child starts to use a narcotic, especially like marijuana, they stunt and almost stop the growth of their own mental progression. And with marijuana being so freely out there today, you have that dull look that so many people are walking around with. It's a shame.
Very true,
I hope
Mr.
they
Rob.
have resources. I really do.
Yeah, Mr. Rob. Also, in the rooms I have learned that they call it the gateway drug. We could downplay the marijuana if we want to, and think that it's okay to be a user of
alcohol.
marijuana.
Right.
Because what I have learned in addiction, we rationalize and we justify the very fact of the matter that is the mind-altering disease.
Well,
And in that being said, with those resources that you described, Mr. DeMarcos, that's the end of the addiction that you see through your treatment program. What are some of the most challenging? I know you're not on the clinical side of it all, but what are some of the most challenging things you hear people that's in that department speak of today?
Well, to be fair to our therapists and to be fair to our clients that are really working very, very hard for daily sobriety, the economy and the systems in place don't necessarily equate with treatment based on
Great point.
everybody says it's evidence-based when they talk about medical interventions and things of that nature, but when it comes to recovery and what's available,
Yes.
there are two different total systems of treatment, and we as an outpatient provider can only offer resources based on where clients live coming to treatment. But what we find time after time after time is that most clients need inpatient or supported residential or sober living, because everyone says it's people, places, and things.
Yes.
And so you can talk the talk, walk the walk, have good sobriety, and listen to your counselor at different levels of care on an outpatient level. So you can have 5 and 6 hour days, 5 days a week, or, 3 hour days once a week, and possibly step down to outpatient where, you're going into treatment 1 to 3 hours. But the reality is you have to go home. You have to maintain your employment. You have to get back into the workforce.
Yep.
And most insurances are short term.
Yes.
So there are agencies that creatively structure treatment in states like Florida. Everybody always talks about Florida recovery, where they've designed models of sober living where people can get 30, 60, 90-day treatment modalities that are commingled with outpatient care. Legislation needs to change.
Yes.
The Affordable Care Act, it's still in an open enrollment period, and thank you for the opportunity to have affordable care, because the alternative benefit plan through Medicaid now has substance abuse outpatient treatment for those with indigent or poverty-based incomes in and around $16,000 a year. So those individuals can get outpatient care,
Yes.
but it's not paying for inpatient care.
Right, Mr. DeMarco's very valid points and very significant, because this is something that I think, as a coalition of people, that we need to take into our government, New Jersey State Legislature, and we need to explain to them and show them the sincerity of why we need facilities. That is not, we're not just releasing people back into the community after treatment of a day, but that people actually need to have the opportunity to be housed in different facilities, and that something financially, as far as a budget, should be allowed to make this happen in the state. That they need to fund more money towards the recovery and as a whole to make this thing happen, because we only scratching the surface, and we're doing a great job scratching the surface. But there's so much more we can do due to the seriousness of what's going on in our communities. When we watch our children, our children's children, and even we have adults. We have seniors that's trapped off in prescribed medications and have nowhere to go. So when you're talking about the treatment process, what you're doing now is greater, but I can foresee that you have something, a vision, and you see a greater need, So if we can all just get together and write our senators and our congressmen and let them know that we have an overwhelming concern about working a better system, not that the system has not improved a great deal, because it truly has, but we can even do better.
Absolutely.
Lori, Mrs.
Jordan.
Yes, sir.
You have experience.
Strength and hope.
Yes, exactly right. A strength and hope. And I know that you know what the pain of it all is that we're really talking about.
Yes.
And why we really need to have our government assist people like Mr. Michael DeMarco and the other surrounding institutions that's about recovery. Mm-hmm. You understand the pain because, like I said, you see it firsthand. What is some of the concerns that you hear in different places that you're involved in? And what would those places be?
Well, of course, with the 12-step meetings, you hear the pain of a newcomer coming in the door, and they don't know where else to turn. They don't know where to get a bed or where to get an IOP or a residential treatment. They have no clue. They hear of the meetings, and they come in, but yet they're still detoxing, and they're still sick and suffering. So
grassroots information.
Exactly. So this is exactly where you need facilities like Crossroads and the APR and other facilities where you can reach out and begin to help the sick and suffering addict walking into these doors.
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. I'm just going to give us a quick identification. We're here at Behavioral Crossroads, and we have Michael DeMarco, and we have Jordan Trainer, you just heard, and we also have Lori Smith from Atlantic Prevention Resources. Michael, I have a question for you. I do know, I heard you say that Crossroads has an outreach program. Do you have any kind of in-reach program or in-house program, or do you have any plans to do anything like that?
Yes, Robert, absolutely. Just a quick short story. Jordan's been with us a couple of months as a CADC intern in the Turnersville office.
Fantastic.
She's done a really, really good job.
Beautiful, Jordan.
In treatment.
Thank you.
But there's an absolute need for alumni relations and in-house networking. We want to make sure that our treatment continues.
Yes.
Even after treatment stops.
That's right.
So Jordan is in the process of developing alumni relations and our family development
I'm
program.
going to be the first because remember, I'm alumni of Crossroads. I'm number one, Jordan.
I got
G.
you.
All right.
Mr. G in the place to be.
They
You
better
are-
believe it. You're in the
yeah.
right place at the right time, right here with Mr. G.
So yeah, we're taking baby steps, Robert. It's a work in progress. The alumni program is going to be most likely bi-weekly, so we'll be setting up. Our goal is to have an alumni group weekly in both programs, but right now we're going to try to have 2 a month, one out of each location.
Great.
And work towards that. We're going to work with the clients in-house, get them linked to the alumni relations, get to know the alumni we have in our community, and then they become the alumni in our community to grow, to move, to reach. Because once they're out in the community and away from treatment, we want them to have all the supports in place to be able to cope and deal and make the right opportunities work for them.
Nice.
Now, Jordan brings with us a real broad knowledge of 12-step models. And
I can see that.
So we're going to be coordinating our clients directly into the 12-step models while they're in program. We're going to be coordinating them with active alumni meetings until they get ready to be alumni.
To be alumni.
Beautiful.
Now I forgive my limited knowledge of treatment programs, but so eventually Crossroads will be a program. It'll be an in-house. Like I know Seabrook. I see the sign on the expressway where he's worth it. But and they go away and they stay overnight. Will Crossroads have that kind of resource available?
Well, let's say that we're doing our due diligence in becoming a partial care with boarding capacity.
Okay.
We're looking at the potential of partnering up with a professional agency that specializes in sober living and working exclusively with that set of businesses that provide the sober living residential with our outpatient treatment of care. We're not licensed inpatient. We don't plan on being licensed inpatient. We're a licensed ambulatory detox, partial care IOP outpatient center for substance abuse co-occurring, and a mental health agency with a partial care license.
Fantastic.
All of the above are outpatient. Basically, in simple terms, we can the phrase treatment by day, sleep at home at night.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
So we're going to partner with a sleep at home agency.
All right.
And you're right here, right outside of Atlantic City in Atlantic County again, correct?
We are. 205 West Parkway Drive. If you throw a dart at a map, and if you hit where the expressway crisscrosses the Garden State Parkway, that's one bullseye. And the corner
Beautiful.
where the expressway starts and 42 intersects with it, that's the bullseye for the other location in Turnersville, Blackwood.
Thank you, Mr. DeMarcos. Mr. DeMarcos, I see that there is a relationship between you and Jordan here. And that relationship is something that I think should be brought up, and how she has already acknowledged the fact that you have been a very instrumental person in her life changing and going in the direction which is going. After all, this is a people helping people program, and to see and have evidence of people helping people right before you, it just overwhelms me, because I'm also a part of the process of Crossroads behavior, Crossroads, and to see, Jordan, you spoke about an alumni. What is it that brings that to the forefront for you to make it important for you to begin that alumni?
I think the alumni program is, again, reaching back to the community and reaching back into the clients that are already in treatment to see the ones that have moved on and have regained their lives back. I think that's very important to, it's kind of like believe what you see. And if other clients that are in treatment see people that have graduated treatment and are living their life to the fullest thanks to recovery and treatment, then it's lead by example. So they can connect with them alumni and the clients and guide each other. Kind of like a sponsorship
Sure, and
relationship
most-
that happens
most
in the
certainly adds
12-step
legitimacy.
meetings.
Sure.
That's very important. You know,
Yes.
a newcomer needs guidance.
Yes.
They need guidance because when we come out of treatment,
That's right.
there's still the internal issues. There's still, okay, the drugs and the alcohol is put down.
That's right.
But what about the
What about the
internal?
thing? That's right.
What about the person?
Beautiful.
And that's where they need guidance, and I believe that's where meetings are very important, getting them involved in the community. The Hope All Day, they
Yes.
have a community, I believe they have a Memorial Day.
Yeah, it's called the Hope Fest.
Yeah, so we're going to have the director of Hope All Day. We're going to invite him to a guest, Mr. DeMarcos.
Okay, that
We're
would
going
cool.
to tie into him because he's doing a wonderful
Yes.
job out there.
So
And
happy.
that's what this is about. That's why it's hand in glove, you know. We all intertwine one way or the other in this process, you know. Lori, would you please expound on what are your concerns today? If you had something that you want to see implemented into this process, what would it be?
I think, like I said, just basically for the public to be more informed of what's going on in the issues. As you mentioned about, you know, things, writing your congressman, writing your senator, it may not be an issue that you're facing directly with a family member. Maybe you think that this is not, you know, in any way touching your life. But when you're looking at the social costs, when people are being arrested and people are drunk driving and actually, you know, causing accidents and hurting another family, or if someone is, whether they're stealing money from cars or robbing a store or a home, that issue, a lot of times, I mean, when you actually go back to what that person is stealing money for, it is for a habit. It is for whether it's, you know, the person's using heroin or buying marijuana. It's being used to support their drug habit. So this does affect the community as a whole.
Yes, it does.
I think another issue we haven't talked about too much today due to time, but just the prescription drug abuse that's going on. Everyone, I urge you to lock up your medicines that you have in your home.
Good information.
Or
Someone
throw 'em away
comes
if you're
in,
not using them.
yeah,
That's what I do.
absolutely, dispose of them. Because if you have, you know, teenagers in your home and they invite friends over and someone can go in your medicine cabinet and take 1 or 2 pills because they're addicted or they're going to sell them. It's something that they can so easily access, unfortunately, in everybody's homes today, that we really need to be aware of how much medication we have, keeping it out of the bathroom that everybody, you know, that your guests use when they come to your home, disposing of them properly. Egg Harbor Township Police Department, the Atlantic County Sheriff's Department, and Atlantic City Police Department all have permanent drop boxes that you can take your medicine to. Our coalition recently bought 6 more permanent drop boxes, and we're working with local police departments to get them into those locations, to different locations throughout the county as well. You know, instead of just flushing them down the toilet, which is an issue for the environment, actually disposing those medications in something like in your home, like coffee grounds or kitty litter or some other, you know, just something that you're throwing away that would make the pills undesirable for a person to actually take the medicine out of your trash can. You know, if you throw it away in the bottle with the pill name right on it and actually, you know, disposing of it. So just simple things like that is something that you could do to actually help this growing issue, because it is, you know, an issue that's facing everyone.
Lori, I found out also that many times I hear the stories of kids picking up their first drug right out of their medicine cabinet in their homes. You know, Mr. DeMarco, did you have something you wanted to share, sir?
I was just, I know police have reported and individuals have reported that if an individual's selling their house or offering open house through the realtor, or if there's a funeral listed in the local or the paper, that, you know, criminals are smart. They're using social media and the internet to figure out when you're not home.
That's right.
You know, people are telling people they're proud with their GPS tracker on their Facebook account.
So
to tell them where they are and what they're doing. So I just, if Lori could expand, I know that the coalitions are focusing on making sure that funeral homes and realtors are communicating with the people that they're working with about the potential liabilities of, you know, people working undesirably by, you know, breaking into homes that they know
It's a
people are
legit
away.
concern.
So.
No question about it.
That's all I had.
If you think about when there is an open house, when a person does pass away, one of the biggest things people remove right away is the jewelry. You know, they're not going to leave their jewelry laying around during an open house.
That's right.
So when you're doing that, also take out your prescriptions. I mean, it's something so simple that a person could steal. And if you think about it, maybe you were prescribed the prescription, the painkiller, because you had surgery. It's maybe 6 months ago, and you're holding on to it just in case you may need it or have a bad day and need, some type of painkiller. That medication is sitting there, and you don't really remember how many pills you had. So for a person just to go in during an open house and take 1 or 2 pills, it's just an issue that we're facing and we're dealing with. So just like you would be cleaning out a house right away of the jewelry and anything, of value, think of those prescription medications as valuables as well.
Sure.
I love this process. This is why. I mean, the resources that we get here, I would never thought of it until I was involved in this process. I take a Lipitor and a heart medication, but I throw my prescriptions away now just because I never had that awareness. And it's nice to know that just putting that in the forefront of people's minds, that I had grandparents, God rest their souls, that passed away in their 90s, and they had a litany of medications.
Right.
And I did put them in a box, and we did get rid of them. But again, I would, there's just some things, and I guess that's why Mr. G has put this program together to bring awareness and to bring resources. I think we all are individually a resource to tell people just the basic heads up. I've heard, I'm not so old, but I'm a little too old for the.
You're old enough.
I'm old enough for the pill party cocktail, where kids bring their prescription drugs and they pour them into like a fishing bowl, and they all reach in for hand. And it's just, and the simplicity is, probably no one individual, I wouldn't, didn't have that thought that I'm going to leave my prescription here, not throw it away, and hope my kids get high. But again, we have to be really aware today of drugs and what's around, because we talked about marijuana being a stepping stone drug. I have to imagine that pills that weren't disposed of properly in a medicine cabinet most certainly have to be a stepping stone, and the first pill a lot of kids get to. And again, I'm just going to give you some identification. We are Recovery Life Radio here, and we're coming to you from 88.7 FM. We're here at Mr. G with www.recoveryliferadio, and we have guests here from the Crossroads. We have Jordan Turner. You're first this time, Jordan, because we keep messing your name up here. And Michael DeMarco, who is a director at Crossroads. And we also have Lori Smith, who is a community coordinator. And I keep leaving out that she's the community initiative coordinator. I'm not really sure why, but I do. And she's at Atlantic Prevention Resources. And every time I get asked to come on this program with you, Mr. G, I most certainly get a lot of information and knowledge. And I try to hub that, as you tell me to, Mr. G, on our website, www.recoveryliferadio.com, so that you can get access to these resources. There's all hyperlinks. Crossroads is up there. And again, if you want to send us your information, what you think somebody else could benefit from, we'll put it up there. So, again, I love being part of this process with Mr. G and hearing all this information of the resources that are out there. I never availed myself to them. I am a person who's employed people throughout my life. And I'll tell you, drug and alcohol addiction in the restaurants that I've had and been involved in, and all the businesses that I've been involved in, there's people who've been seriously injured in warehouses that I'm involved in. And you say, was that person, the first question, was he intoxicated? And the answer, unfortunately, more so than not, is yes. And, most people shy away and they want to distance themselves from a person like that because they don't want the liability. And, there's in my personal opinion, you see that people, they don't give somebody the resources. As you said, the police department's doing now. That's great. I never knew that. They probably give it to you while they arrest you, but which is the irony. But hey, when you get out of jail, here's your treatment center, and please don't get arrested again. That's great. And I wouldn't know that if I wasn't here with you guys. So, and it's my honor. It really is.
Thank you for being here, Rob. Rob is my best man.
My best man.
Best man on the show. I love him. Rob, I thank you for all that you have done for me and that you are doing in the show, for your participation and your dedication.
You got it, Mr. G. Anytime.
Thank you so much. I also would like to allow Mr. DeMarcos, we have very few minutes left, and I would like for you to give your website information, your telephone number again, your location, and I would like to move right down the line and let everybody share their information. Thank you. We have 3 minutes, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, it's Behavioral Crossroads. Toll-free number is 877-645-2502. www.behavioralcrossroads.com. General information, info at behavioralcrossroads.com, and it's all on Recovery Life Radio
That's correct.
website.
That's correct, Mr. DeMarco.
Thank you so much. Ladies, where we go first?
Again, it's Join Together Atlantic County. You can find us on Facebook, just searching Join Together Atlantic County, or our website, jtacnj.org, or give us a call at 272-0100. We're always looking for members of faith-based organizations to come out and volunteer, come out and help us. We would like, the leaders of churches to come out and work with us as well. We can help you and help your community.
Thank you so much. And Jordan.
I'm with Behavioral Crossroads, Jordan Trainer, and the phone number, as Michael said, 877-645-2502, and that is option 2. My direct email is jt@behavioralcrossroads.com, and that's for the alumni relations, community outreach, or any help with addiction, mental health, anything at all.
Thank you. I thank all 3 of you so much for being here. It's been absolutely enlightening, a pleasure to have someone so full of information as Mr. DeMarcos. We thank you once again, sir. And hopefully we will see you soon, real soon. Is that all right?
Mr. G, you call me, I'll be here.
Fantastic. You're here next week.
All right.
We don't have to,
my honor.
We don't have to play with it, okay? Let's keep it real. I need a powerhouse of information, so you're already on board. Lori, God bless you, and it's been absolutely a pleasure and delight to meet you as well. And I'm quite sure Mr. DeMarco will be inviting you back to the show because he is my powerhouse of information connection. Jordan, you and I have some work to do. Is that right?
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful to meet you today.
Thanks
it's been
for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And as always, my main man.
My main man, Mr. G.
Mr. Rob.
My main man. And just don't forget, guys, our mission here is to hub together all the information and resources that we possibly can. A Google for recovery, if you will. And that's all on the website there at www.recoveryliferadio.com. Again, you'll see all our guests here. Michael, Jordan, and Lori's information will be on the website. So if you didn't get a chance to write it down, if you're on your drive to lunch or from lunch, the information will be up there. And if you have any suggestions, our ears are always open. Feel free. Again, it's my pleasure being here, and Mr. G, I can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing.
Can you give that webpage once again, please?
I absolutely will. That's www.recoveryliferadio.com. And again, from there, we have a few fun messages that we put up there that we found helpful for ourselves.
Yes.
We have the guests and the show. There'll be a hyperlink to this show. So if you want to listen to this broadcast or last week's broadcast, or, we're trying to get organized here, guys, so we're going to have next week's broadcast, which we're always broadcasting at 10:30 a.m. on this radio station right here on Thursdays. It's 10:30 a.m. on Thursdays at 88.7.
Thank you, Mr. Rob. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I am Mr. G, your recovery broker, with my special guest star, Mr. Rob. Recovery Life Radio brings awareness of local recovery resources to you. We are making accessories to them, accessory to your listening. I am Mr. G, your recovery broker, and would like to thank you, my guests, for showing up.
Thanks.
Meet me again next time, same station, right here on 88.7 and 99.9.
Thanks for having me,
your
Mr.
FM
G. Thank you.
station.